Shine on, shine on, shine, 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 shine on.
Drift from all sides, and everyone dies except for you. Dark nights, rolling like fires, the smoke in your eyes I take from you. It's not over till it's over. You're good night, even if you don't feel good. It's just a control burn, taking off the dead, leaving good water. I'll hold you no one feels like hell. I'll water you back well. It's just a control burn. Your ground keeps me stable. I know you're able to hold me too. This time next year, maybe we're not here, good enough to bear the fear. Rain runs through. You're good night, even if you don't feel good. It's just a control burn, taking off the dead, leaving good water. I'll hold you no one feels like hell. Water you back well. It's just a control burn.
Hi. Good morning, everyone. Brian, is it possible to make me the co-host? Hello, I'll be the MC today. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for the music. Okay. Our interpreters here. This way. Okay, thanks. With the music. I think we will start at 10 sharp.
好，我们10点会开始。
Used to pray for the days that I'm living. Now I live it, but I spend time reminiscing. But the nights in the dark, no vision.
Let go. Caught in circles in this vertigo. You play it so low. I don't know you like I did before. There's a feeling I can't shake this time. In this
Hi. Good morning, everyone. Happy morning. And happy afternoon, good evening, good night to all of you this morning, and also to our speaker today, Professor Seiji Arao Takahashi. Now, first of all, this session will be conducted in English. So if you need interpretation, please click the interpretation channel. 早安，大家好哈。今天整个环节呢是以中文进行。那如果你需要听英文的话呢，请你点击英文同声传频频道，谢谢您。那 Thank you very much, everyone. And we have Vietnamese interpretation this morning also. Now I just want to check if you can listen to the Chinese interpretation. Can you please put in the chat box 10 10 10? Wow, nice. All right. Now, if you can listen to the Vietnamese interpretation, please put in the chat box 11 11 11. Hi, Yi. Oh, yeah, nice. I can see that you can also listen to the Japanese interpretation. Happy morning, a warm welcome. Now, let's have some interaction this morning. First of all, is this the first time you attend a session like this and listen to our Professor Seiji? Then you put 1. If you have listened to this many times, then you put 100. All right, nice. Oh, we have newcomers also. 1 first time. Nice. Welcome. Wow. Welcome. Now, I'd like to know where do you come from. Now, please put in the chat box the location you are in now, whether you are in China, you are in KL, Xiaoyi, yes. We have people from Taipei, from Mexico, from Sedona, from Johor, Malaysia, from Shanghai. Yeah, from Europe. Amazing. I'm happy to see that. There are people from Zhejiang, China. And Hanoi. Yeah, from Vietnam. Whoa. Now it's really an international session this morning. I'm so glad that all of you are happy this morning and you want to spend time with us this morning. Now, let me introduce our speaker. Wow, we have China from Wuhan. And the speaker today is none other than Professor Seiji Takahashi. And today's session is about turning adversity to extraordinary. Now, I met Seiji back then in Sedona, and he is a very helpful and capable person. You know, the SCIM program is so busy, and all of us are so stressed. And yet, Seiji is the one who is supporting the IT, and he's the one that we can count upon when we have issue with our laptop, we cannot go online, we cannot submit our homework. And in the midst of doing the quiz, we also have to ask him to come and help. So imagine how capable he is. He has to do the quiz at the same time support all of us who are so incapable, so no good in our IT. Thank you so much, Seiji. Now, Professor Seiji now holds the position as the Executive Vice President of Diamond Cutter Institute Global and also Sedona College of International Management. That is, in short, we call SCIM. So not only that, he is also the primary translator for DCC, that is Diamond Cutter Classics. So we can see how busy he is and how many challenges that he has to face. And yet, I believe he must be a superb seed practitioner. And he has been a seed practitioner for 16 years. So I hope it is a special day for you. And let's welcome Professor Seiji. Welcome. Please give a lot of flowers, diamonds. Welcome. Welcome,
Hey.
Professor.
Hi, Sokteng. Good to see you.
Hi.
Thank you for your kind words in the introduction.
Welcome.
So, hi, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for coming today. I see Xinhui's translating. Do we have any other translators here? Oh, Ivy, let me put you here. No, sorry, Grace. Okay. So thank you all for coming today. Today, I want to share a little bit about how to practice and what have been some of the benefits of advanced level 1 for me. So I wanted to share some of the concepts that I found the most useful. And I want to start with a little exercise. And for that, I would like to ask Brian if you can set up the slides. Do you have my slides, Brian? Okay, so I wanted to start by asking you a question, by taking some time to do a quick reflection. My question today is simple. What wound do you think you're currently carrying? What challenge are you currently facing right now that you wish it would simply disappear? If at the moment you're not facing a current challenge, can you remember the last time you had the biggest challenge? Can you remember how it felt to be in the middle, particularly where you're in the middle of big challenges? They tend to affect all of our life, and they tend to paint everything in that note. For me, sometimes when the challenge is big enough, it can cloud my mind and it can start affecting other areas of my life. Let's say if I'm having a personal challenge, it can often end up affecting my professional career or social, or vice versa. Sometimes I have a challenge at work, and that ends up affecting my personal life. And sadly, I think this is a very common thing that happens to a lot of us. Because if it's a big challenge, by definition, it means that it triggers certain negative emotions. And I don't know about you, but for me, when I'm under a negative emotion, I tend to do things that I later regret, or I cannot be as productive as I would like, because my mind is constantly focusing on that challenge. So today I want to share with you my biggest challenge by far, and how I tried in the middle of almost despair, try to practice what I could, and the good effects that it's having now in my life. I also want to share a thought with you. In DCI, we believe that the most helpful teachers rarely emerge despite their struggles, but that they emerge because of their problems. So the question is not, so next slide, Brian, please. Whether life will wound us or whether we'll get hurt by things that happen. The question is whether we allow these wounds to become wisdom. That wisdom becomes the best tool that we can use to help others. Now, I chose this picture because this is a very important concept, both in DCI and in my personal life. This is how I visualize what we call in DCIG a peacock warrior. If you've heard about peacock warrior, please type 1 in the chat. If you haven't, please write 0. Oh, so I think most of you have heard about it. For those of you who haven't, this concept is very simple to understand. hard to practice, but simple to understand. Peacock warriors we define as people that have a good understanding of seeds, and they spend their life, because they understand seeds, trying to help other people with their problems, because they understand that that's the only way to get rid of their own problems. Why do we call them peacocks? Because in ancient literature, the peacocks were a mythical creature. They say that peacocks can eat poison, arsenic in particular, and transform it in their body. Not only transform it so that it doesn't kill them, but they transform it into these beautiful feathers. And that's what makes them so beautiful. So it's a great analogy of people who try to live off helping other people, live off poison, believing in the seed system, putting it into practice, and in that, becoming more and more capable to help more people. So I want to introduce the first concept of the talk today. I call it every masterpiece begins as a raw material. Another topic that we talk about in this level, advanced level 1, is called Einstein's entropy truth of trouble. I chose this image to illustrate that. Basically, this concept means that everything that starts must have an end, if untouched. Simple example, an apple, you let it out, in not many days, it will rot and become, I don't know, ashes. I don't know, I know it's not exactly ashes, but something like ashes. It will disintegrate. How can we see this from the seed point of view? If things depend on causes, then when the causes or the seeds that are producing that run out, the thing must run out. Physical things, relationships, projects, etc. So that's why we say in DCI we need to focus really hard in replanting those seeds. But sometimes the seeds run out faster than what we can plant them. So I want to talk about that. When that happens, how can we make the best out of the worst, basically? And I think a big explanation that can help us with this, and something that Geshe Michael used to say a lot, is, as we all know, with seeds, good and bad, there's always a time gap. So let's say that we have a problem that comes up, and we see it, so we start to plant the seeds to attack that problem. But because of that time gap, sometimes those seeds ripen too late. So, and at the same time, if a negative seed already ripened, there's not much we can do about it for that negative seed. The analogy that we use is, if you plant, let's say I plant an apple tree. Once the tree grows, you cannot push it back into the ground. Same thing for problems. Once the problems arise, it's not that you can just say, oh, seeds, and the problem disappears. So time gap is one of our biggest enemies. You know, Geshe Michael used to say, if there was no time gap, it'll be much easier for us to always apply the right seed antidote. If, for example, every time that you slightly cheat someone with money, or you don't pay someone the full amount, or if you look at your wallet and money starts disappearing, we would clearly know that what we just did had a bad consequence, and naturally we would stop. However, sadly, this doesn't happen, at least not for me. And I think this is a very common thing for all of us. We all have common struggles. We have problems in our relationships, or with our health, or maybe financial uncertainty, anxiety, failure, parenting struggles, struggles with our family, loss, career setbacks, wars. I could continue on and on, but we all get the picture. Unfortunately, I live in a reality where I am forced to see people having trouble. Everybody has problems, but very few knows how to transform them. Very few of us know how to be this peacock warrior, to transform problems into beauty. And I chose this picture, thank you, Ryan, because I kind of see this, right? You have a problem, a big block of granite that suddenly falls in front of you. You can complain. You can feel like you're the person with the worst luck in the world. You can try to push it and never move it. Or you can use that, chisel it out, and create a masterpiece. Create a beautiful sculpture that will not only help you, but that can inspire people that in the future will have, or in the future or present, are having the same problem. And you can help them find a solution by sharing your experience and how you dealt with that. So the first topic, one of the major topics I want to talk about today is a shift in our mindset, a challenge. And this is one of the main things we do in Advanced Level 1. We can transform a challenge. Instead of seeing it as an obstacle, we can see it as a raw material. Instead of concentrating on this huge piece of granite that fell on my path and doesn't let me go through, maybe it was meant to be that it had to come here so I can create that masterpiece. And the point is, we don't want to prevent trouble. We want to know how to deal with that. So I'll tell you a little bit of my story, and throughout the topics, I'll tell you a bit more of what concepts I use and how they help me. So for the past 2 years, I've had possibly one of the most challenging situations of my life. For those of you who don't know, I've been going through a very long, very complicated separation. And like in any separation, when you have kids, one of the biggest tragedies that has happened to me is not being able to see my son as much as I would like. So I had a big negative seed ripening of relationship ending. But not only that, not being able to see my son every day like I used to. So suffice it to say, the biggest negative seeds of my life ripened all at once. And I had a sad realization, which led us to decide to separate, that at least for me, my capacity was not enough. In DCI, we can always plant seeds, but at some point also, particularly when the challenge is big enough, sometimes we need to be honest and have an honest assessment of ourselves. This big challenge, in my case, the biggest challenge, am I responding with wisdom? Am I stopping this cycle of me hurting someone else hurting me hurting someone else? Am I continuing this negative cycle? Am I making it worse? And even though I have the power to stop it, can I, with my current situation, do it? And I have to say, at the beginning, I couldn't. At the time, I felt like my capacity was not enough. And I went through some pretty intense pain, sadness, etc. Luckily for me, I do have a very good support system. I have really good seed friends, and I have a lot of people that love me truly, that have supported me a lot, and people that help me to go back to seed wisdom. And I can tell you now that it's been about 2 years since this happened. Now that has sparked a very, very deep journey of developing new skills that are bringing me closer to my son. And not only that, but they're helping me upgrade the relationship with my parents, with all the generation of my family. And I can tell you, this has been the most significant, the most meaningful 4 steps I have done in my life. Now, important clarification. It's easy to say this now that I've gone through the challenge, but sometimes, particularly again, when the challenges are big enough, sometimes responding with seeds is not, some days when the days are hard, and I think we've all have gone through that when we're having a problem. And some days we're just feeling weak, like, oh, I cannot deal with this today. It's okay. Sometimes those days happen. So the first thing I would say is, if you're going through a big challenge, or you have been through a big challenge, the first thing is, it's okay to not put pressure on yourself. Some days when we cannot respond with positive seeds, at least the bare minimum we can do is do nothing. Don't perpetuate the cycle. Don't continue and make it worse. Sometimes the best we can do in those hard days is just do nothing. Wait for the evening. And the next day, wake up and it's a new opportunity to plant seeds. And I want to introduce a second very important topic of what I wanted to share with you. And I call it the wounded warrior. And I truly believe that our deepest wounds can often become our greatest strengths. Of course, it's hard to see it at the time, but what DCI and particularly advanced level 1 tells us is that, yeah, it's hard when challenges happen, but if we manage to get through them, and most of us we can, then we can become, that can become our strength. Not only that, we can become a beacon of hope, or simply someone to help people that are now going through that same problem. And that's where the wounded warrior comes in. I don't know if you can see here. So I asked my AI to create a photo of a peacock warrioress and to have some scars in her skin. Beautiful scars. Debatable. I think they look kind of beautiful, but you get the concept. By the way, I was debating whether to put this or, for example, a photo of an actor that I like called Jason Momoa. I don't know if you know, have heard about him. He's a very good-looking man, but one of the things that he has is he has a huge scar in his eyebrow. It's very prominent. It's impossible not to see it if you see a picture of Jason Momoa. And I kind of believe that it kind of adds to his persona. It makes him look even more attractive, more manly, I guess. So that's the concept. I call it the wounded warrior. And just for context here, a warrior is not someone who never fails. A warrior is someone who keeps transforming pain into service. This is how generally the progression is of if we want to become this wounded peacock warrior. We have pain or a difficult challenge in our life. First of all, giving ourselves the permission to just breathe. I think there's certain pressure among SID practitioners that when a problem starts, it's like, oh, immediately put the antidote, plant the seeds. And yeah, that's correct. But I think it's always good to, be kind. Something that I have learned is that it's very important that we are kind with ourselves also. And again, I'm not talking about a small problem, right? I'm not talking someone wrote you an angry email or whatever. I'm talking big problems that have a big repercussion in your life. So I think first step, to say, okay, I'm not feeling good. I'll give myself time to get over it. As soon as the negative emotion slows down a little bit, that's when we start using our SID wisdom, right? We try to understand what could be the possible causes of this. And how can I, if I'm thinking of the causes, how can I transform this so that I can plan the opposite, the solution? It often involves compassion, wisdom, and eventually it will become an experience that we can help others. What's a very clear example of wounded warriors? Thankfully, we can see that a lot in our world, and this is not unique to the SID system. I think it's almost human nature, which is amazing. Why do programs like AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, exist? because people who overcome addiction are the best people to help other people that are going through addiction. Entrepreneurs who have failed are the best mentors because you can go to them with your problems, and if they're experienced enough, they have already experienced that in the past, and they're the best people to offer you help, not just solutions. Sometimes it can be a friendly chat. Sometimes it can be emotional validation, just being there as a friend to accompany you through whatever challenge you may have. In my case, my sisters have been an incredible help during this transition. And actually, someone else here who's actually translating, Xinhui, has been another of the people, for example, that has been helping me a lot. She's one of my four-step partners for parenting, because we have kids that are about the same age. Anyway, I think this concept of the wounded warrior can be a very important concept because it can help us transform the biggest challenges in our life into an opportunity to help others. And in doing that, getting closer to getting into a place where all problems are eradicated. None of the people, like what we talked about before, the people that run the Alcoholics Anonymous or business mentors or etc., very few of them began as teachers, but they became teachers through transformation. So another question I wanted to us to reflect on is, remember that the last time you had a big challenge, what was it that challenge taught you that no book ever could? I bet you if you really think about it, it's when we are facing the biggest challenges that we have the biggest growth. And yes, books, it's incredible to read books, don't get me wrong. That's one of the main things that we inspire people to do in DCI. But I do believe that the best teachers, sadly, are the challenges. Well, not so much the challenges, but how we respond to them. And that is where DCI comes from. That's where the seed system comes from. It can give us real solutions to make sure that this thing does not happen again. But not only that, the opportunity to transform our world because of that. So the next topic I wanted to talk about is going beyond solving problems. Because as you know, this level is not called becoming the best problem solver. Our aim is higher. We want to go beyond just solving the normal problems. We want to transform those problems into masterpieces. So usually what happens is most of us, we approach challenges by asking, how do I make this go away? I'm not talking about seed wisdom. I'm talking about instinct. And I'm going to come back to talk about instinct in a minute, because that's one of the big realizations that I had because of my challenge. So our natural instinct is, how do I make this problem go away? But in advanced level 1, I invite you to ask yourself a different question. Instead of focusing on solving the problem, how do I transform this into something that can help others? How can I transform this into something beautiful? And this small shift on the question that we can ask ourselves, it's a small thing, but if we really go with it, it can be incredible. Because problem solving seeks relief. And yes, relief is good, but we don't want just relief. We want to transform. We want to eradicate that problem from our life. Transformation, on the other hand, creates value. Creates value not just for us, but the people around us and all the people that we manage to influence through talks like this or classes, coaching, etc., etc. Whatever you do for work, you can take this value and share it with the people that you interact with, people that you love, people that you play, everything. And something that I really like that Geshe Michael says a lot is, if you're seeking to solve a problem, you need to use effort. You need to use time, resources sometimes. So if you're going to be using time and effort to solve a problem, why not to use it to completely transform? As we saw, it's not that we can push the tree back into the ground. So instead of thinking how to make this problem go away, we can use that same time to get a bigger bang for our buck, a bigger return on our investment. Sorry, translators, I'll try to not use English sayings. How do we get the maximum return from our investment of time, effort? So I want to tell you I want to go back to my story and my challenge. So, like I said, I had a big relationship end. And to be honest, and the most painful of that, not being able to see my son Maitri as much as I liked. So the immediate thing was negative seeds, right? Deep sadness, feelings of being overwhelmed because I was not going through just through one challenge, but a double challenge. So after the initial period of despair, one day I woke up and say, okay, enough is enough. I need to focus on cleaning the seeds. And I started to take a super deep dive into the biggest problem of my life. And this inspired me to do more things, to equip myself with more skills so that I could, in this case, for example, become a better father to my son and to plant the seeds so that I wouldn't face this type of negative result anymore. So there are many things that I started doing. Luckily, because of the type of work that we do in DCI, the learning about seeds is pretty constant. I like to go to Mixed Nuts every week and just having well, not just that, but as many classes of Geshe Michael as I can go. And one of the cool things about that is that you're constantly having an influx or a source of incredible ideas coming to you more and more. But this problem made me realize that there was an imbalance in my life. There were some skills I needed to develop. In my case, I needed to work on my emotional intelligence. And this sent me into a deep dive. I had been going to therapy, but I started to get a lot of real inspiration to work deeply on my things. I also realized that through therapy and taking a lot of parenting courses and finding incredible teachers, one of the things that I started experiencing is a deep research into my feelings and behaviors. I started to understand myself better because I think on the wisdom part, I was okay with the information that I was getting. I'm happy with the level of teachings I go to. However, I saw myself reacting in a way that I didn't want, that I would later regret because I didn't have the skill of how to deal with my emotions. And for example, something very interesting that I learned from therapy, always keeping the seed in mind, of course, and from discovering an incredible parenting teacher that has revolutionized my life. I learned, for example, and this is through a parenting course, right? By the way, I want to do a quick plug. If for all the parents in the audience, one of the teachers that I found, her name is Dr. Becky Kennedy. She's a best-selling author, and she wrote a book called Good Inside. So if you find yourself having some responses, for example, if your kids are doing something that triggers your partner, and you do a behavior that you later regret, check out her book. It's incredible. She might not know it, but she's teaching how to use the peacock warrior concept as a parent. And for me, it's been extremely transformational. Again, because I've been developing a skill for 2 years that I didn't have. For example, let's say that, oh, there you go, Brian. So, for example, a simple concept, let's say, oh yeah, thank you for sharing that in the chat. For example, there's a difference between feelings and behaviors. For example, let's say that my son just made a big mess, throwing a lot of paint on the floor. Now, as you can see, I have wood in the floor of my house. So paint, oh my God, paint, if you don't clean the paint straight away, it can go really deep into the grain of the wood. And this is a true story, by the way. So Maitri one day, he grabbed a big bucket of blue paint and threw it on the ground while I was making dinner. I came back and oh my God, I saw it and I felt so annoyed. and one of the major transformations that I've had about this is, and why the book, for example, is called Good Inside, is that I believe that everybody really is good inside. including and especially our kids. Now, that this might sound like a simple concept, but it's only when you start practicing that it really becomes to life. How would that change my parenting style to remember that he is good inside? And that's where the feelings versus behavior is. One of the things that I learned is feelings are separate from behaviors. Feelings, at least as a parent, I believe that all feelings should be allowed. All feelings should be encouraged. Well, not encouraged, but accepted. It's not the feeling that's wrong, it's the behavior. And then when you start seeing things like that, you stop being the parent that punishes your child because he did something wrong, because he's a bad kid doing bad things. If we really internalize this concept, say, he's a good kid having a hard time. Maybe he was missing playing with me because I was cooking dinner, and his way to make himself happy was to bring the paint, and then he had a little accident. So now he's not a bad kid doing bad things. He's just a good kid having a hard time. And because he's a kid, he doesn't have sometimes the skills. For example, let's say that he was feeling neglected because I was in the kitchen not paying attention to him. So maybe his answer to that was, oh, well, the behavior, I'm feeling neglected. Maybe I'll do something that will create attention. So, for example, I went to him and said, oh, I'm sorry, you felt you want to play. He said, yes. I said, okay, that's totally fine. You felt like I wasn't paying attention to you. He said, yes. That I can relate, because I miss him when I'm not with him, even if he's in the same place. So I said, oh, it's okay for you to feel neglected or feeling bored or sad. That's completely okay. But let's try to find together a different way to get my attention. Maybe you can come to me and we can play a game while we're in the kitchen. And by the way, we did start doing that. So anyway, I need to back up because this is a topic that I feel very passionate about. Let's go back to the main topic. So, as I was saying, one of the things that I started doing because of my problem, because of this challenge, I started to have more information and to see professionals that could help me with my emotions. What I already said, transformational concept of good inside. Another one, which started to turn the focus on me, is the topic of unresolved wounds. So because of therapy, I started learning. And by the way, it's very important to try to find a good therapist makes the whole difference. Especially if you can find a therapist that has understanding of seeds. Incredible. Or not, if not, you just have to translate everything into seeds. For example, something that I learned is when I get angry, when I get impatient, when I get any type of negative feeling, it's often because of an unresolved wound that I had in the past. In this same example, I started to remember when I was 7, I did a similar mess in my house. My parents' reaction was to start screaming, oh, you're such a naughty kid. Let me hit you hit you. So now seeing that with my son, then what the therapist explained to me is, suddenly you are not 37. suddenly you're a 7-year-old. That experience repeated, and your mind goes back to how when you were a 7-year-old. You're not thinking as a 37-year-old, which is the age that I'm now. And that was another concept that has been completely transforming my life. Because through gaining a better understanding of my emotions, it gives me an opportunity to create a gap between a situation, the feeling, and my behavior because of that feeling. If I can remember, first of all, to also be compassionate to myself, like I am doing with Maitri. You're allowed to feel upset because there is a mess in the house. What behavior do you want to do with this? And I'm super, super, super happy, for example, in this case, that I was able to break a big cycle in my family that has been going on for generations. How do we respond to mess in my family is with anger and with punishment, so that the kid learns that they should not do it. However, that just creates a wound. It doesn't create a skill. And I'm super happy to report that that day, I was able to really connect with Maitri and say, look, by the way, he was crying. He was like, oh, I made a mess. And actually that helped me get out of this. Said, don't worry, messes happen. And instead of just being a problem that got solved, I started to use it as, why did this happen? So I asked him, were you feeling sad? He said, no. Were you feeling left out? He said, yes. It turns out that he was just missing me, missing playing with me, because before starting to make dinner, we were playing. So he was just missing me. And that's something I can relate to, and something that helped me understand him better. Of course, like he's a 5-year-old, he was missing me, and he thought that the best way to get my attention was to make a mess. Understandable. He's 5, he's just learning about life. And being able to connect with him on an emotional level first, to tell him it's okay for you to feel sad or to feel left out, and together coming up with a solution. So the behavior you did, that I want you to please don't do that. Because if we make messes with paint, it means that we need to clean the floor, or if we do it on a couch, if it's bad enough, sometimes you need to throw the couch. So let's find a different alternative when you're missing me and you want my attention. And we came up with a lot of really cool games. Now when I'm cooking, he goes to the kitchen and plays there. Or we have this guessing game of, he thinks of a fruit or a vegetable and he starts telling me, oh, what's black on the outside and green on the inside and has a big pit? Oh, avocado. So, like I said, so this little concept helped me, again, not only just go through problems, but use every problem as an opportunity to connect on a deep level with my son. And 2, on finding a solution together. As an added bonus, feeling good is like, oh, giving yourself a pat in the back. Yes, that is the behavior that I want to have, as opposed to what I would do as an instinct. And suddenly, this journey became a lot deeper. Because like I learned through studying my emotions, yes, my instinct is to respond how I believe should be the response to that. But that response didn't come from me. I mean, it does come from me on the seed level, but in the emotional level, it becomes from this wound. What I experienced when I was 7 and how I got corrected. And that's not even my parents' fault, because their parents did the same thing. And their parents, etc., etc. So suddenly it was not just working on my relationship with my tree. Suddenly this became deep work of breaking intergenerational cycles. I'm super grateful to my parents, my grandparents, and all the people that came before. And I owe it to them to continue becoming better and better. Suddenly, little problems like my tree making a big mess became the most significant process of my life, because it allowed me to get this deep dive and breaking, like I said, these cycles that have been infecting our family for generations. And to be honest, I don't know if I would have been in this journey if the challenge hadn't happened. Now, important clarifications, and I'm running out of time, I'm sorry. I'm happy to continue sharing this another time. So, important clarification. Just because you're doing deep work, it doesn't mean that it makes things less painful. I actually fail a lot. I have failed so much, so many times. And another big important lesson I gain is resilience. Above all, I think one of the biggest skills we can have as seed practitioners is resilience. You have big problems. Sometimes all you can do is to endure. Sometimes you can work on not creating new causes. Don't repeat it. And sometimes when you're feeling powerful, when you're feeling energetic, you can use these problems and transform them into a masterpiece. Now, I know that for some people, some of you, it might not sound like a huge thing, but for me, because it's so personal to me, I truly can tell you this has been the most transformational area of my life. And I ended up working, it gave me the ability to work on my biggest negative seed ever. It forced me to face my biggest problem, and I haven't solved it yet, but I'm making progress. I'm making good progress. And for me, it's already a masterpiece. It's a win, because even though I'm not at the end, I am on an upward trajectory. A lot of failures, but so ups and downs, but generally going up. And this is the cool thing about Advanced Level 1 and why I wanted to talk to you about this today. Advanced Level 1 is not about fixing your problems. It's about becoming the kind of person who can transform whatever life presents. It's about becoming the peacock warrior. This is the definition of a peacock warrior. Check out this image that my AI made. It's incredible. Advanced Level 1 is the concept of a peacock warrior. Take problems, you eat them, and you transform them into beautiful masterpieces. And this is an incredible, incredible skill. Because if it's a skill, it may start with you and your son, or you and your partner, whatever you decide to do it. But once you start developing a skill, the cool thing is skills are transferable to other parts of your life. So now I find myself using some of those skills in the difficult conversations I need to have at work. Someone says something that offends me. I get upset. Okay, what's the new way that I've learned? Okay, it's first of all, emotional validation. It's okay to feel upset. It's a bad seed that came up, you cannot push it down. It's not good to ignore it or not to acknowledge it. So I started, for example, parenting myself. It's okay to feel upset. How are we, and this is actual conversation that I have with myself. How would you respond instinctively? Oh, I would yell back. Okay, we know that this just creates more problems. How else can we find a different solution? Oh, okay, maybe just connect with them emotionally first and then say, look, what you propose does not help because of this, and that. Can we meet in the middle? Yeah. So for me, like I said, I'm super happy that I have tools that I've been learning from the most incredible teacher on how to transform problems into beauty. And that's why I wanted to invite you all to come to our SCM Advanced Level 1. Because that's basically it. If we practice it correctly, it can help us develop this skill to transform problems into beauty. So I wanted to leave you with one thought. Your challenge might be your calling. What if difficulty is not interrupting your purpose, how we can often think about? What if the difficulty is preparing you for your purpose? Perhaps we don't realize it, but we don't realize it now. But in the future, someone, somewhere, will eventually need the wisdom that only you have, that only your current struggle can produce. And a cool result, at least, for example, with the problems I have had with my tree, something that I didn't expect at all is that because I'm gaining these skills, I also start fearing problems altogether, because I know that each problem is an opportunity to create more connection, to create more unity between me and him. And honestly, I'm being super honest, and I never thought I would see it like this, but now I welcome when we have problems. I welcome when he's feeling upset or he's sad because of something, because I can take each one of these to get to know each other better and to find solutions together. Again, I'm not perfect. There's times where I still lose my patience. And there's other areas in my life where I haven't been able to transfer this to. However, I started developing a skill that would only continue growing and that can help me in every other area of my life. So some final takeaways. Every challenge contains the seed for future wisdom. Transformation is more powerful, infinitely more powerful than problem solving. these are some concepts that we can learn in advanced level 1 to develop this capacity to transform problems into beauty. Remember, today's struggle may become tomorrow's greatest gift to the world. Last thing I wanted to say, as you know, our dear teacher is getting older and older. And as you know, well, I don't know if everybody knows this, but he has kidney failure. And he's been preparing us for a long time for the day that he cannot no longer teach. However, this has become more obvious in the past also 2 years. So if you're on the fence, oh, should I go to advanced level 1 or not? I truly believe that this will be the last time that Geshe Michael teaches this. What I mean by this is take the opportunity now. Take the opportunity now that you can learn from an incredible person. And you might find that it can give you the tools and the skills that eventually we might be able to welcome every problem with happiness. Happiness is the wrong word, with enthusiasm. Say, instead of being an obstacle, a big rock in my path, maybe it's the raw materials for a beautiful sculpture. So if that's a skill that you think might help you, and not only that, the cool thing about going to SCIM is that it gives you the skill to teach others that skill. It's better than giving people a fish, it's teaching them how to fish. So that's why I wanted to invite you today, if you feel the calling to attend this SCIM Advanced Level 1, I can tell you, for me, the ideas within have been invaluable in the face of the biggest challenges that I've had. So thank you for listening to me today. Thank you to our SCIM team that organized this, and thanks to our translators. And thank you, Brian, also for the PPTs. Thank you to our tech team. So I hope you will join us for SCIM Advanced Level 1. Thank you. Back to you, Sok Teng.
All right. Thank you so much, Seiji, for such a wonderful sharing about your experience on how to become the true warrior, to turn problems into a masterpiece. And yeah, it's true. It is a very rare opportunity that we have Geshe Michael teaching us the advanced level 1 on the topic on how to turn all our problems into a masterpiece. So if you have any question about this, you're welcome to ask our professor, Seiji. Now we can open for some questions if it's okay with you.
Sure, of
Yeah.
course.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, I see here there is a question, I think, just now from George. He asked that when facing major challenges, should we first deal with the emotion or think of the seeds? Or don't emotion also comes from seeds? So he asked psychological processes, emotions more quickly. Can seed wisdom replace psychology? So this is question.
Yeah.
Let me put the question.
Thank you for that question, George. I love the question, and it allows me to make an important clarification. The only solution is seeds. In my opinion, for me, psychology, and more than psychology, emotional intelligence is a skill that I was lacking. And so a skill can help you if we always bring it back to